Welcome to the Empower Her podcast. I'm Deanna, an ex-corporate manager turned certified coach, empowering you to create the life of your dreams. My goal is to guide you and support you in understanding what you really want in life, what steps to take to get there, and learn to actually enjoy the ride. Whether you are climbing the corporate ladder, a stay-at-home parent, or an entrepreneur, I coach you on how to believe you are worthy of a balanced, happy, and energetically positive life in work and at home. My goal in this podcast is to help you recognize patterns, implement change, and use your energy for positivity within yourself and your own life. I believe you don't have to suffer in this lifetime. You can create a life on your terms based on what you want, regardless of what that looks like. It is about reframing your beliefs, letting go of negative thoughts, and looking at your life as a set of opportunities there for you. I'm so excited to get started. Hello, and welcome back to the Empower Her podcast. Hi, everyone. We're in week 2 of December. Literally can't believe it. I'm like hoping for snow, some white Christmassy vibes. I'm so excited. We need to have a check-in. Okay, let's have a check-in. How are y'all doing? Okay, because I don't know about you, but the last few weeks since early November, if you know, has been rough, okay? My mood has been up and down. The only thing keeping me positive is Christmas. That is literally the only thing. Christmas vibes, Christmas energy. I have my tree up, the decorations up, the lights up. I'm in the Christmas spirits. Christmas in Europe is so beautiful with all the Christmas markets and the lights, and I'm so excited about that. So that's what's like keeping me going. But I need to know how y'all are doing, okay? Because I'll be honest, my mental health has not been the best the last few weeks. It's been a challenge. And that's what really inspired today's episode. I want to talk about confidence because I think as women, especially, always, but especially in the last few weeks, our self-esteem, our confidence is being sabotaged. It's being sabotaged. And as someone who spent the later half of their teens and all of their 20s hating themselves and not feeling confident, I know a thing or two about what happens when you lack confidence and how to get it back. Okay. So whether or not your confidence has taken a hit or not, maybe it hasn't. I hope it hasn't. But the overall goal with everything happening is, again, to sabotage women's confidence. There's not really a better way to say it. So I'm on a mission to help all of you either regain or increase your confidence because our self-worth and knowing our self-worth is how we're going to be the best version of ourselves. Okay. So let's just start with the basics. What is confidence? My definition of confidence is being completely aware of your strengths and utilizing them for the greatest good to yourself and for others, okay? So confidence is about shining and not caring what other people think about you. Confidence is knowing your authentic self is your best version, okay? As I said, I've had confidence issues in the past. I was teased in my teens all the way to adulthood, and literally until recently, they still would make comments if I didn't shut that down, but about my weight, my body, everything, my decisions I would make when I moved, the college I went to, what I was studying, what I did for a job, literally everything has always been criticized. And this really took a toll on me, okay? Like I've talked about this before, I've mentioned it, my body struggles and restrictive eating and things like that. And I was a very confident child. Like I was super confident. When my parents or family members describe how I was as a child, like I loved being in the spotlight. I was super confident. But by the time I got to my 20s, my confidence had faded so much that I was not the same person. Like I just didn't have that sparkle anymore, or at least the sparkle that I did have was a little bit manufactured, and I really wanted to get my own personal sparkle back. And this affected every part of my life, right? When I had less confidence, I was dating men who didn't deserve me. Oof, the men I dated. Oof. many of them. This is a big topic in therapy, let's put it that way. I gave friends chances in relationships when it was only hurting me more. I didn't make career transitions soon enough because I was scared to fail. I had a lack of boundaries with my family, which caused me immense stress and anxiety. Like I actually, because of these things, had physical symptoms, like getting sick all the time. And now I look back and I'm like wondering why I was sick all the time in my teens, my 20s, like all the time I was sick. Like I was the child in our family. Like I was the person that was always, always sick. And I spent the second half of my 20s pretty much from like 25, 26, 27 on building up my confidence. Okay. And now that I'm into my 30s, I can say with confidence that I'm the most confident I've ever been. I truly, truly am. I treat myself in a way that's kind, compassionate, caring. I have strong boundaries, which I never had before. And I say no when needed, even if it's challenging. And ultimately, I love myself and I love who I am and I love my body and my brain and just the person that I am. And just the way I think about myself, how I speak to myself is just a complete 180 from how I used to. But again, now more than ever, we as women need to be confident in ourselves. Now more than ever. So I want to talk about how we can actually increase our confidence, but I'm going to give you practical tips today. And I'm going to divide it up into 4 categories. So physical, spiritual, mental, and like communication tips, basically. Okay. So I'm going to mention each topic and then I'll go into very specific tangible tips on how you can increase your confidence. These are things that I personally do or I've seen other people do, but these are all things that are really going to help you with your confidence. Okay, so let's first start with physical things you can do to be more confident. The first thing is take up space physically. Okay, this is really hard for women to do. We're so conditioned to take up as little space as possible. Okay, so practice standing or sitting with a wide stance. Like think how men sit, wide legs open, putting their hands on the armrest. Like, no, we should be doing that too, right? Studies show that power posing increases feelings of confidence by shifting your physiology. So power posing is like, for example, if you have an interview, stand up and get in a Superman pose where you like spread your legs a little bit and then you put your hands on your hips and then you kind of put your head up like a little bit and you're just in that position for like a couple of minutes and it's like a power pose, it's Superman pose. It's going to get you to physically feel more confident. So take up more space. The second thing under physical is dress for yourself, not the room. Okay. If you've been on TikTok, you know that there's the trends of like for the female gaze, for the male gaze. We're not dressing for anyone but ourselves. Okay. So you need to wear clothes that make you feel strong and authentic, even if they're unconventional. Okay. Because at the end of the day, if you feel good, you are going to elude that confidence, right? And you're going to be more confident and you're not going to conform to expectations, right? That's super important. So always dress for yourself. This was something that I struggled with because as a child, I was very expressive with my clothes. I remember I loved to like do colorful things, matchy, like that was what I loved. And then I just started dressing like in my early 20s, like literally so, I don't want to use the word boring, but that's what comes to mind. It was just not authentic to me. And over the last like 5 or so years, I've really found my style. And, I'm someone that likes neutrals with a pop of color. Like I love heavy makeup. I'm such a makeup girly. Like I will go all out just like for a dinner. I love wearing like dark lipstick, like a dark pink or a red lip. I love doing like heavy eyeliner with like, big eyelashes. I love doing a pop of color on my nails. But in general, I like to dress in more neutral colors, white, black. I like, jeans, blue. I love grays. Like that's what I feel most comfortable in and with like a pop, right? Like that's what works for me. And, people would tell me like, you should dress this way and that way. No, I'm going to dress the way I want to. Thank you. And then the third thing under physical is take on some sort of physical activity. Okay. Now this is not to lose weight or to look a certain way. Okay. When I say take on a physical activity, I'm thinking walking, dancing, running, boxing, cycling. There's weightlifting, martial arts, defense classes. This is so that you will feel physically strong and confident, not so you lose weight or not so you'll look like any sort of celebrity. Okay. That's not the goal here. The point of this is to feel physically strong and confident. So whether it's a sport or something that you feel like could be really fun for you, definitely recommend this. This is going to bring you so much more confidence. Next subsection is spiritual. So how can we increase your spiritual confidence? So the first thing is adopt a confident alter ego. I really like this. So a good example is like Beyonce has her alter ego, Sasha Fierce. So create a character for yourself or an alter ego. Now I know this may sound funny, but like you can just have this in your head. You don't need to tell anyone about it. Give yourself a name that you like. Create this alter ego, and it's someone who embodies your most fearless qualities, okay? And basically step into this persona during moments that typically make you nervous. So something cool to do is like write down the name of this person and then write down like the qualities of them. And then when you're in a situation, bring it up. Let's say your, alter ego is Electra. I'm just going to say a random name, Electra. And she's super confident and she talks back to people and she, jokes around and she doesn't care that people stare at her. When you're in a situation like that, adopt that. Like bring Electra out. Say, okay, now I'm Electra and she's going to do this and that. It's a really great way to sort of disconnect from your person while still, embodying that sort of confidence. So I think that's something really cool that you can do. The next thing is reframe anxiety as excitement. Okay, so instead of saying things like, I'm so nervous, say, I'm so excited, okay? Your body's response to excitement and anxiety is actually quite similar, but this subtle shift can actually change how you perceive those emotions. So let's say you're anxious about an interview, right? Say instead, I'm so anxious or I'm so nervous, say, I'm so excited for this interview, right? Again, they're similar bodily responses, but that slight shift in what you're saying and what you're saying to yourself is going to make all the difference. And then the third thing under spiritual is list your daily wins. Okay. So at the end of each day, this is sort of like what we talked about last week with gratitude, or 2 weeks ago with Thanksgiving, is write down 3 things you accomplished, no matter how small. Have gratitude for what you did, right? Those amazing things that you accomplished. Because when you regularly recognize your achievements, you're actually building momentum and confidence over time. Sometimes, not sometimes, I would say we often focus on the negativity and those negative things that are happening. But if we start to focus more on what we're doing well and our little wins, then we're going to continue to focus on that over time. And it's just going to be better overall. The next category is mental confidence. Now, some of these can be interchanged with the different categories. This is just how my brain works and split these up. But for mental, the first one is channel your inner beginner. So I talk about this a lot with my clients, but embrace the learning curves instead of avoiding what you're not good at, right? Like, so instead of approaching situations with like, I don't know how to do this, or I don't know if I can do this, approach it with, I'm curious. I'm wondering what this is about, right? It's about shifting the focus from being perfect to growing. And that's going to build your confidence, because confidence is not the ability to do things the right way. It's the ability to take risks and do something and be okay with the outcome, or be able to live with the outcome, be excited about the outcome, right? It's not about the outcome. It's about doing it, right? So it's about, regardless of the outcome, you're going to be happy and excited because it's something that you did. The next point under mental is set micro goals for fast wins. I talk about this all the time with goal setting. This is one of the best ways that you can gain confidence, is when you set big goals for yourself, try to break them down into micro steps so that you can get quick wins. Okay. So if we're talking about a goal that's like 6 months long, make those goals monthly, like break it up into monthly goals and then break it up into weekly goals. And then at the end of each week, celebrate. I talk about this a lot with my career coaching clients, because they're applying to jobs and we don't always celebrate just them getting an interview or getting a job offer. We celebrate the fact that they applied to a job, or that they got a response from an email, from, a networking email. We want to celebrate those small wins. It's going to build your confidence up, and it's just going to really keep your confidence going. And then the next thing under mental is focus on your contribution rather than approval. So shift your focus to how you can actually contribute to a situation rather than worrying about how you're being perceived, right? Like, so if you're volunteering or doing something at work, you're doing a project at work, like don't focus on, oh my God, are people looking at me? How do they think I'm doing? Do they think I'm, doing well enough? No, that shouldn't be the focus. The focus should be on, I'm contributing. This is what I can bring to the table. This is what I'm able to give. And that's amazing. And when you shift that focus, you're going to have more of that confidence. Now let's talk about some communication tips to build your confidence. I love these. These are super easy to implement. You can even write these like on a sticky note or have it in your phone so that you can, keep looking at it whenever you need to. And these are something to practice that you can keep practicing, even if you say it quote unquote, I don't want to use the term the wrong way, but even if you say it the wrong way, you can correct yourself, right? That's the language shifting part. So the first tip is use and instead of but. Okay. So replace but with and in your language to keep yourself open to possibilities and avoid downplaying your strengths. So for example, I'm nervous, but I know I can handle this. It's basically saying like, despite being nervous, I think I can still handle it. Versus if we say, I'm nervous and I know I can handle it, you're saying that I can handle this, and being nervous is going to be parallel to this, but it's not going to impact my being able to handle it. Being nervous is just another feeling that I'm feeling next to being able to handle it. So it just really just signals to your brain that you have other options, there's other possibilities, and you open yourself up to those different possibilities rather than like downplaying yourself, because you're saying like, I'm nervous, but I can handle it. It's very downplaying of your, your strengths and what you're able to do. So really try to focus on the saying and opening up your possibilities. The next communication tip is replace sorry with thank you. I say this to people all the time. So instead of saying sorry for something, say thanks. So for example, let's say you're late to a meeting, a couple minutes late, no big deal, right? So instead of saying, I'm sorry I was late to the meeting, you're basically putting yourself down, but instead you can say, thank you so much for your patience, right? And waiting for me. That's like giving gratitude. And again, we talked about gratitude is like giving gratitude to other people. They're going to feel that back. You're going to start off with something positive and you're giving them a compliment. You're saying, thank you for being patient. Like, I appreciate you. It's being late is not something to say sorry for. Like, sorry should be reserved for things when you actually do something wrong to someone and you need to apologize for it. This is not the situation, right? So just something to consider. And then the third communication tip is embrace strategic silence. Okay, this is super hard, but instead of filling every silence that you have in a conversation or rushing to respond, let those pauses linger a little bit longer. Okay, this can be super uncomfortable. I understand. I'm someone that also doesn't like pauses, but I've learned to embrace them, let's say, because this really shows that you're comfortable holding space and it gives weight to your words, right? Sometimes, if you want to talk a lot, that's great, like do it. But sometimes we don't need to say something because it's just not the time, or we don't have anything to say that would be relevant, and we don't need to say it, right? We don't need to fill up space. Also, it's giving the energy of like, oh, I have to compensate in this situation because you're not talking, so I have to talk. Why is it on you? Why is it on you to compensate? They can also have a conversation and they can also talk. Women especially tend to do this because we want to overcompensate in this situation, like on dates or, with a one-to-one conversation, especially with other men, we tend to overcompensate, right? And having that silence also encourages other people to consider their thoughts more carefully, and it's going to actually enhance the impact of your communication. So hopefully these tips were helpful. I think that, these are really great, small, tangible things that you can add into your life that are actually really going to, bring up your confidence. And I listed like 12 different tips here, but what I would recommend to you is just pick 2 that stood out and that resonated with you. So whichever 2 you felt like, oh, dang, this really resonated with me, or I think I could do that, or that sounds super fun, just pick 2 and implement them for the next 2 weeks, okay? Just pick 2. You don't need to do all of these, right? We talked about small goals, small wins. Just pick 2 things and implement them for the next 2 weeks and see how your confidence skyrockets. You can even journal every day, see how it feels. And again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Your confidence is not going to go up overnight. I wish it would. I wish there was some like a magic pill to give everyone to get their confidence up. It doesn't work that way, right? It's a marathon, not a sprint. But if you work on it every day, even just a little bit, you're going to see your confidence boost like never before. And I'm saying this as someone whose confidence was on the ground, and I've gotten it up to such an amazing place. And yes, it did take me years. And I don't want that to discourage you, because you can make changes. Even every day you can feel a shift and a change. So try any of these, 2 of these that really resonated with you. Try it for 2 weeks and see how you feel. You are going to feel a difference. I guarantee it. Like, these tips are so amazing, and they're really, really going to help you. Okay. I'm sending you all so much positive energy. Good luck on your confidence. Break a leg. Let me know how it goes in the DMs on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you, and wishing you all an amazing, amazing week. And I'll catch you in the next episode. And if you love this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a review. And of course, you can follow me at Coach Deanna DeBolt on TikTok and Instagram. I'll catch you next time.